Hi everyone, this is Ariba, and this is a quick short on negative numbers. All right, so just going through our number line here. This one in particular starts at 0, and this contains all numbers from 0 to positive infinity. You can see that because there's this arrow that indicates that this will go on forever. So 10, 11, 12, and then just continue on till positive infinity. Here we just have some labels. So this whole thing will be whole numbers. Do note that this does not include whole numbers, do not include decimals or fractions. And then just natural numbers, everything in whole number except 0. So this was a positive number line. Now let's look at the negative number lines. With the positive. So this is an integer number line, which includes positive integers, negative integers, and 0. Note that 0 is neither positive nor negative. Awesome. So one thing to note when comparing, we'll look more into this in the IDE, but when comparing numbers, it's easier in the positive because we've looked at positive numbers ever since we were little. So looking at 1, we know that it's going to be less than 2. However, looking at negative 1, it's a bit hard to imagine that negative 1 is actually greater than negative 2. So one way to remember this is always going from left to right. A number line is increasing in number, increasing, and going from right to left, we're always decreasing. So negative integers are going to be basically going off to negative infinity here if we keep going to the left, and they're going to be becoming more negative. So negative 4 is more negative than negative 3, which means that negative 4 is smaller than negative 3. Similarly, positive 4 is more positive than 3. And that means that it's going to be bigger than 3. Just some operations. We want to note if we have positive multiplied by positive, we're going to get a positive. If we have a positive divided by a positive, we're going to get a positive. This we're already familiar with. However, if you're multiplying negative by a negative, you should expect a positive. And this is because when you operate the multiplication operator on negative numbers, then those negative numbers cancel out to give us a positive value. Similarly, if we have negative divided by negative, we also get a positive value because the negatives get divided out. And when we have positive divided by negative, we get a negative. When we have a negative divided by positive, we have a negative again. And this is because we don't have the canceling out action going on. So we'll explore this more in here. Here I've just opened Python, and if we do here -2 times -2, we'll get 4. However, if we do -2 times 2, we'll get -4. So because we don't have this negative cancellation going on, in this one, we'll get a -4. Similarly, we can do like that to get -1, or we can divide -2 by -2 to get 1. All right, and then we have positive plus positive. This we already know. If we add more positive things to a positive number, it's going to give us more positive numbers. So it will keep going down to the right side of the number line. Similarly, negative numbers, if you keep adding negative numbers to negative numbers, we're going to get even more negative. So negative plus negative equals negative. Now this is where it gets a bit vague. So positive plus a negative. So let's say we start off with a positive number and we add a negative number to it. Will it be positive or negative? Well, it really depends on how big the negative is. So if the negative is adding a -1, then we just go down by 1. But if it's adding -3, 1, 2, 3, then we go down to a negative number instead of a positive number. So it really depends on the sign of the larger value. If the sign, so for example here, since 3 is being added to -4, we'll get a -1. We can see this on the number line. So subtracting 4 from this will give us 1, 2, 3, 4, which is a negative value. And this is only because 4 itself is larger than 3. -4 is not larger than 3, but the value of 4 is larger than 3, which makes this outcome a negative number. Let's say the positive number is larger than a negative number. In that case, we have 6 plus 2 plus -2. So let's imagine a 6 here. Or wait, hold on. Let's start at -2 actually. So now we're gonna add 6 to this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We landed a positive number. Because the value of the positive number was greater than the negative number, then we end up with a positive number. Great. I think that's all. If there are any questions about negative numbers, please let us know in the forum. And thank you so much.